that kind of changed when people saw that the Raiders passed up on Shedeur almost 5 times before the Browns initially came in and scooped him up. And people are this new interview when Tom Brady speaks about young quarterbacks and what he looks like in young quarterbacks has people thinking, hey, this is the real reason why Tom Brady didn't want to draft Shedeur. But here's the problem. I'm going to immediately debunk this. So let's hear what the GOAT of the NFL has to say about the importance of young quarterbacks.
Because football is the ultimate team sport. And even in this broadcasting role, Chris, that's what I look for all the time. When a quarterback throws a touchdown pass,
the media just got caught red-handed trying to destroy Shedeur Sanders' reputation, and what Tom Brady actually said will blow your mind. While everyone's been spreading lies about why the GOAT supposedly didn't want Shedeur drafted, the real footage tells a completely different story that's about to make some people look really, really stupid. But here's the kicker. Shedeur just exposed the whole game with receipts that nobody saw coming. And now the Browns' ownership might be in full panic mode. This isn't just about football anymore. This is about how far the media will go to tear down a young black quarterback who's been doing things behind the scenes that would make these critics feel ashamed of themselves.
Because football is the ultimate team sport. And even in this broadcasting role, Chris, that's what I look for all the time. When a quarterback throws a touchdown pass, I actually watch to see who he goes and celebrates with. Because what did I do? I looked for my offensive lineman every time. I went down and celebrated in the end zone with my teammates every time. I wanted everyone to feel like they were part of the success. I told the linemen, we're all running to the end zone and we're celebrating as a team. Because I think that's way more intimidating than a quarterback doing his 6-shooter guns and pointing up in the crowd and doing all that other bullshit that's very self-promotional, but it's not about winning. And I think winning in football is about a team.
Look,
always.
I'm about to break down something that's been eating at me for weeks now. You know how the media loves to create these narratives, right? They take one comment, twist it, and suddenly everyone's an expert on why certain players succeed or fail. Well, they just tried to pull this same garbage with Shedeur Sanders and Tom Brady. And I'm not having it.so here's what happened. Tom Brady goes on this interview talking about young quarterbacks and leadership, specifically mentioning how he watches to see who players celebrate with after touchdowns. The man's talking about team chemistry.
Because football is the ultimate team sport. And even in this broadcasting role, Chris, that's what I look for all the time. When a quarterback throws a touchdown pass, I actually watch to see who he goes and celebrates with. Because what did I do? I looked for my offensive lineman every time. I went down and celebrated in the end zone with my teammates every time. I wanted everyone to feel like they were part of the success. I told the linemen, we're all running to the end zone and we're celebrating as a team.
About looking for your offensive lineman, about making everyone feel part of the success. Basic leadership stuff that any quarterback coach would tell you. But somehow, and this is where it gets ridiculous, people started connecting this to why Shedeur supposedly fell to the 5th round. Like Brady was throwing shade at the kid. Are you kidding me right now? Let me tell you something that's about to make all these hot take artists look absolutely foolish. I went back and watched Shedeur's touchdown celebrations, and guess what I found? This man has been doing exactly what Brady talks about since day one.
Now, Shedeur Sanders has his own signature celebration with the watch. And if you actually watch the games, he celebrates with his teammates as well. He's not just doing his own thing. He's not ignoring his offensive linemen. Why do you think Cash Cleveland was damn near a celebrity in front of all of us? Cash Cleveland was a below average offensive lineman, but guys like Shedeur shared the success anytime he scored or even off field.
We're talking about a quarterback who, after throwing a 69-yard touchdown bomb, immediately runs to find his offensive line to give them love. Not to the cameras, not to the crowd first, straight to the big men who protected him. You want proof? Watch this. After that touchdown pass, where does Shedeur go? He's scanning the field looking for his linemen. Give me some skin, brother. He's telling his running backs, his receivers, his protection. This isn't some new behavior either. This has been his pattern for years at Colorado. But here's what really gets me heated about this whole situation. The media wants so badly for Shedeur to be this arrogant, selfish player that they'll ignore video evidence right in front of their faces. They want him to be the stereotype so bad that they'll twist a Tom Brady interview about leadership into some kind of criticism of a kid who's actually demonstrating that exact leadership. And trust me, what I'm about to show you next is going to make you question everything you've heard about this draft process. You know what Tom Brady actually said about Shedeur when he was drafted? Not the twisted narrative, but his actual words. He texted the kid directly and told him that day 2 matters more than draft day. Brady, the man who went 199th overall, was out here giving Shedeur encouragement and motivation. But somehow, the media spun this into Brady not wanting him drafted. Make it make sense. But let's dig deeper into why this narrative is so dangerous and why it reveals something ugly about how we treat young black quarterbacks in this league. Because this isn't just about football analysis. This is about character assassination.
And clearly y'all forgot about it because, you can't say it was about publicity because nobody talked about it. My man Daniel was there, Browns reporter, we follow on Twitter. My man Daniel was there actually videoing Shedeur, giving back to the community out of his own pocket, free food, things. And we got deeper into that story, and it was really messed up because what it really was residents of this local Cleveland area apartment saying, hey, we smell gas, we smell gas, we smell gas. And it ends up being, we'll push it off. We'll come service you eventually. Weeks of this until a giant, a tragic accident that nobody could saw coming, and an explosion happens and a giant fire happens. No, they ignored a predominantly black, unwealthy, impoverished community in Ohio. They ignored them. They didn't want to give the resources that they asked for. When they asked nicely, went through smelling gas. And after their apartments were exploded on fire because of an accident that the people who were supposed to be providing them with shelter and maintenance couldn't even check it out. People are displaced. People have no homes. People have nowhere to eat, stay, pray. To think, to shit. Like what? Guess where Shedeur Sanders was? 5th round draft pick. This is before the preseason. It's only when people were saying, hey, man, he's a bum. He's during that time. After being told that he's a 5th rounder because he's bad, he's this, he's entitled, all of these things. Guess which player, which quarterback was out there? So when you ask me, why am I a Shedeur Sanders fan? Because this young man has given back to schools, to communities other Browns players don't want to do and don't want to spend time and shed light on, right? He's doing humanitarian things. So yeah, I'm a fan of Shedeur. I'll tell you if he's playing bad. Y'all got mad at me for saying that he played bad, as well as the Browns setting him up for failure. Two things can happen at the same time.
Here's something that's going to absolutely blow your mind about the type of person Shedeur Sanders really is, and why I'm so disgusted with how he's been treated by certain media members. You remember that apartment fire in Cleveland? The one where residents had been complaining for weeks about smelling gas, begging for maintenance, getting ignored by landlords. The one that ended up exploding and displacing families in a predominantly black, low-income community? While all these critics were busy calling Shedeur entitled and selfish, guess which Browns player showed up with his own money to provide free food and support to those displaced families? Not the veterans getting paid millions. Not the players. The media loves to praise. The 5th-round rookie that everyone loves to hate. And here's the kicker. This wasn't some PR stunt. Nobody was even talking about it. If it wasn't for Daniel, the Browns reporter who was actually there documenting it, we might never have known. Shedeur didn't call cameras, didn't post about it on social media, didn't make it about himself. He just showed up and helped people who needed it. But you won't hear about this from the same people who are so quick to question his character. You won't see this mentioned when they're debating whether he's a team player or not, because it doesn't fit their narrative. Think about this for a second. A rookie quarterback, dealing with all the pressure and criticism that comes with being Deion Sanders' son, still found time to give back to a community that was ignored by the system. These families had been crying for help for weeks, and when tragedy struck, it was the kid everyone loves to criticize who stepped up. But wait until you hear what NFL players are actually saying about Shedeur behind the scenes. Travis Kelce just went on record saying the world wants to see Shedeur play. Not just that he's talented, but that he brings excitement and entertainment that puts eyes on screens and fans in seats. And Kelce isn't alone. We've got Joe Hayden talking about how the Browns didn't even give the kid a fair shot in preseason, pulling him out right when he had a chance to lead a comeback drive. You know what's funny? These are actual NFL players, guys who've been in locker rooms, who understand what real leadership looks like. And they're all saying the same thing about Shedeur that contradicts everything these media narratives are trying to push. David Njoku was inviting this selfish quarterback to his all-star softball game. Veteran players were gravitating toward him from day one. But somehow we're supposed to believe that Tom Brady's comments about celebrating with teammates were a shot at a kid who's literally been doing exactly that. The cognitive dissonance is mind-blowing. That here's what's really happening, and this is where it gets ugly. There are certain media members who are so invested in seeing Shedeur fail that they'll twist anything, even positive comments about leadership, into criticism of him. They're literally waiting for him to have a bad game so they can say, see, that's why he fell to the 5th round. But they'll make excuses for Dylan Gabriel's interceptions. They'll explain away Arch Manning's struggles as just needing better offensive coordination. The double standard is so obvious it's painful to watch. And that's when things got really crazy, because what happened next exposed the entire game. See, when you start digging into who's really pushing these narratives and why, you realize this isn't about football analysis. This is about something much deeper and more troubling that you've got reporters like Tony Grossi who'll spend all day criticizing Shedeur's character. But where was Tony when those Cleveland families needed help after the fire? Where was his coverage of a Browns player stepping up for the community? But Daniel was there. Daniel was documenting it, showing the world what kind of person Shedeur really is. And maybe that's because Daniel looks like the people who were affected by that tragedy. Maybe he understands what it means when someone with a platform actually uses it to help instead of just talking. The contrast is stark, and it's telling. You want to know why I'm a Shedeur Sanders fan? It's not just because he can sling the football, though breaking over 100 records at Colorado doesn't hurt. It's because when you strip away all the noise, all the narratives, all the manufactured controversy, you find a young man who's consistently shown character, leadership, and genuine care for others. When Tom Brady talks about looking for quarterbacks who celebrate with their teammates, he's describing Shedeur Sanders. When NFL players talk about wanting to see exciting, entertaining football, they're talking about Shedeur Sanders. When we talk about giving back to communities that need it most, we're talking about Shedeur Sanders. But somehow, we're supposed to believe that this same Tom Brady who's been mentoring and encouraging Shedeur is actually criticizing him. The mental gymnastics required to make that make sense would win Olympic gold. But here's the moment that changed everything. When Brady was directly asked about why Shedeur fell so late in the draft, his response said everything you need to know about their real relationship. No criticism, no subtle jabs, no validation of the media narratives. Just genuine confusion about why such a talented player wasn't selected earlier, followed by encouragement and mentorship. I actually texted Shedeur because I know him very well, Brady said. Not past tense, not used to know him, present tense. He knows him. And his message wasn't criticism, it was motivation. Use this as fuel. Day 2 matters more than draft day. Come from someone who went 199th overall, those words carry weight. But here's what really exposes the game. The same people who were so quick to use Brady's leadership comments to tear down Shedeur went completely silent when Brady's actual words about the kid came out. Funny how that works, right? This is bigger than football, family. This is about how narratives get created and who benefits from them. It's about how a young black quarterback can do everything right, show leadership, give back to communities, earn respect from veterans, break records on the field, and still have people searching for reasons to tear him down. And for what? Because his last name is Sanders? Because he has confidence? Because he brings entertainment value that threatens some people's idea of how the game should be. The truth is, Shedeur Sanders represents everything these critics claim they want in a quarterback: leadership, team-first mentality, community involvement, talent, and work ethic. But because he doesn't fit their narrow definition of how a young black quarterback should behave, they'll twist anything, even compliments, into criticism. Oh, what does this mean for the Browns and the NFL moving forward? Simple. The cat's out of the bag now. Everyone can see what's really happening here. The manufactured controversies, the twisted narratives, the desperate attempts to make Shedeur Sanders into something he's not. It's all been exposed. Browns fans are starting to ask the right questions. Why was their fifth-round pick the one showing up for the community while higher-paid players stayed silent? Why are NFL veterans praising a guy the media keeps trying to tear down? Why does Tom Brady, the greatest winner in NFL history, have such a close relationship with someone who's supposedly a bad teammate? The Browns organization might be feeling the heat because their fans aren't stupid. They can see talent, they can see character, and they can see when someone's getting a raw deal. When you've got Travis Kelce saying the world wants to see this kid play, and your own former players like Joe Hayden questioning whether he got a fair shot, that creates pressure. And honestly, that pressure is deserved. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about Shedeur Sanders anymore. This is about how we treat young athletes, how we create and spread narratives, and whether we're going to let talent and character speak for themselves or keep getting distracted by manufactured controversy. The media tried to use Tom Brady to tear down Shedeur Sanders, but all they did was expose their own bias and agenda. The truth has a way of coming out, and in this case, the truth is that one of the greatest quarterbacks ever sees something special in a kid that others are too blinded by prejudice to recognize. Look, at the end of the day, football is entertainment. We watch because we want to see greatness, excitement, and stories that inspire us. Shedeur Sanders brings all of that to the table, plus the kind of character and community involvement that should make any organization proud to have him. The Tom Brady situation just proved what we already knew. When you look past the noise and the narratives, you find a young quarterback who's doing everything right both on and off the field. The media tried to create controversy where none existed, and all they did was make themselves look foolish to us. Oh, next time you hear someone trying to tear down Shedeur Sanders, ask them one simple question: what receipts do you have? Because the receipts we've got show a different story entirely. If this breakdown opened your eyes to what's really happening in the NFL media landscape, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. We're going to keep bringing you the truth behind the headlines. And trust me, there's a lot more where this came from. Let me know in the comments what you think about this whole situation. Are you seeing the bias now, or do you still think this is all just football analysis? Either way, I want to hear from you. Drop a like if you're tired of the manufactured drama and ready for some real talk about what's happening in this league. Until next time, keep watching the game behind the game.